What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about defensemen that maybe the Winnipeg Jets could be targeting or maybe should be targeting ahead of the trade deadline. This is a team that desperately needs some help on the back end. Currently, Dylan Samberg is out with an injury, and the Jets are cycling between, Dylan Coghlan, Logan Stanley, Ville Heinola, and Colin Miller on that bottom pairing, and it's just not good enough. And even when fully healthy, probably not good enough to, meaningfully compete in the playoffs. And I don't think that they're like a number 6 guy away. I don't think, trading a 5th round pick for a depth option is going to fix this defense. So I've come up with 3 names here that we're going to go through in this video. First on my list, my personal favorite, number 1 on my wish list for a couple of seasons now, Rasmus Andersson of the Calgary Flames. Andersson is a shifty, puck-moving, right-shot defenseman. He's listed at 6'1", 200 pounds, currently 15 points on the year in 28 games played. Very good defenseman that's capable of playing top minutes and, could very well thrive here on a pairing with Josh Morrissey. Yes, Dylan DeMello has been Morrissey's partner for, as long as I can remember here, since the bubble season, and they've had really good seasons together, but it does seem like Dylan DeMello is starting to slow down a little bit. That pairing hasn't been as effective, and, I think Morrissey would probably benefit from having a new partner, a quicker partner, and a guy that can move the puck like Rasmus Andersson. He's really that guy, and he's a big piece that I think the Jets are missing on that back end. Some star power in there as well. Just a very consistent defenseman that's able to bring offense and that is very responsible defensively as well. Now, his contract is very digestible, $4.55 million for this season and next season. So he's not a UFA after this year. Jets would have some control on him, and they would be able to, use him next year if they want to make the playoffs or, make a push for the playoffs, have him in their D-core. It would go a long way. It would be a nice investment, and it would be easier, to dish out more valuable stuff like a first-round pick, like maybe a prospect like Kobe Barlow, stuff like that. If you have him as, not just a rental player, you're going to have him for this season and season to come. Maybe he signs an extension, who knows, right? But I think that he could be a great pickup. He does have a 6-team no-trade list, so, if Winnipeg's on there, that's something that they'd have to work with. Maybe he waives it, maybe he doesn't, but either way, I think it would be great to make a pitch for Rasmus Andersson. I think that's a big name out there that I think is going to get a lot of attention. It's not going to be a cheap trade, but I think the Jets should definitely go for it. Next up on the list, we've got Penguins defenseman Marcus Pettersson. Pettersson is a guy that's already been talked about this year, as a guy that teams have, already been poking around on. 6'5", listed at 174, which, pretty lanky guy, very tall but very skinny, but, very effective defenseman. 2 goals, 11 assists this year for 13 points in just 29 games. So he does have some offensive flair, but he's very responsible defensively. He's a guy that kind of reminds me of a Dylan Samberg, maybe just a little less gritty, maybe a little more shiftier than Dylan Samberg, maybe a little bit more offensively focused, but he's a very smart defenseman. He is a left shot. He's not a right shot, so that does play a factor here. I don't know how interested the Jets are in acquiring a left-hand shot defenseman. I think they absolutely should be, but the way that they roll Logan Stanley out there at the number 6D position on that bottom pairing, it worries me, because are they married to having Logan Stanley in lineup come playoff time? That's yet to see, right? I really hope they're not. Obviously, a guy like Pettersson would be a massive upgrade over Logan Stanley, and you're not going to win with Stanley in the lineup come playoff time. He's just not good enough. That's going to kill you come playoff time. So, if they want to upgrade there, get Pettersson, maybe look for another defenseman to add, maybe on the right side at the deadline as well. I think that would be great. I would love that. And in an ideal world, I would love, Andersson or another big name defenseman like that and Pettersson, but it's going to be expensive for defensemen, always is, and it doesn't help that Pettersson's a very good one. Unlike Andersson, Pettersson is in the last year of his deal, so he is a UFA. He will be a rental. $4 million just over is the cap hit for him, so not terrible, really not a big price to pay for a defenseman like that. I do think that he's going to go for, at least a 2nd round pick, something like that. I do think that there's going to be a lot of teams in on him, type of defenseman that teams look for at playoff time. He's going to be expensive, but I do think he could be worthwhile, a good you know, under the radar pickup, possibly, you know, taking away from some of the bigger names that are floating around right now. I think Pettersson would be a nice addition to this Jets D-core. And last but not least, a guy whose name's been thrown out there a lot lately with the struggling Buffalo Sabres, Bowen Byram. You want to talk about splash play? Let's talk about Bowen Byram. This guy is so dynamic offensively. This is a guy that's a bona fide top pairing defenseman, could play in anyone's top four in the NHL. He's fast, he's creative, he's shifty, big offensive weapon. He'd be great on the power play. 15 points in 27 games this season. Left shot defenseman, 6'1", 205, just 23 years old. He is the most intriguing defenseman, you know, whose name's been kicked around this year. It's rumored that Buffalo has been taking calls on him. I don't know how serious they really are about trading him, but it doesn't sound like it's impossible. You know, he was traded for Casey Mittelstadt at the deadline last year. Colorado received Mittelstadt, and they received Bowen Byram, and Byram has been electric this season. He's fast, shifty, like I've talked before. He's everything the Jets need. They need speed in the lineup. He would be a big help. Byram's a fine defender as well, you know, not an elite defender by any means, but if he's paired with a, you know, more defensively minded player like a Dylan DeMello, that would be massive. That would be such a fun pairing with those two, or a Colin Miller even. I think that would be really nice. Maybe the Jets go out and add somebody that's a little bit more responsible, a little bit bigger to partner with him. I'm not sure, but I think if Neil Pionk is paired with Dylan Samberg, and if, you know, Morrissey gets one of DeMello or Miller, whoever else can play with Bowen Byram, and I think that would be just fine. I think, you know, Byram has enough compete and enough talent to really elevate any pairing. Now, where this gets interesting is his contract, $3.85 million. Money is really not an issue there at all, but he's in the final year of his 2-year deal. He will be a restricted free agent at the end of this, and he currently has no trade protection. What a splash this would be by the Winnipeg Jets if they could go out, get a young defenseman with the caliber of Bowen Byram, put him into the lineup, and get him to sign long-term. Right? The long-term signing thing might be difficult, could be tough, but if they can bring in Byram and at least, you know, try to get him, you know, you might as well try. Worst case, you can trade him in the offseason, recoup some assets, and you've got a guy that, you know, helped out at least with a playoff run. I think this would be a really great pickup for Winnipeg, and he's going to be expensive. This isn't going to be, you know, just a little tiny trade or, you know, just a first-round pick. It's going to be a lot. But if you can bring in a guy like that, then, you know, more teams and more fans around the league are going to take you more seriously. The Jets desperately need a boost to their defense core. They need some more star power there, and I think Byram would be a big get for Winnipeg. I think he'd be the most, you know, splash play they could do here. You know, Andersson would be great too, but if you get Bowen Byram, you're really adding a star to your lineup. So, you know, we'll see where that goes. We'll see if Byram even is available by, you know, trade deadline time. Maybe they wait till the offseason to move him if they even are planning on that. But I would love to see Bowen Byram in a Jets jersey. But those are my 3 defensemen that I think the Jets should be looking at, you know, come trade deadline time. What do you guys think? Is there somebody I missed? Is there somebody that you would personally love to see the Winnipeg Jets, you know, go after? I know all of these defensemen that I've talked about, a couple of them are more, you know, realistic than, you know, the other one in Bowen Byram, but I don't think it's impossible here for either 3 of those guys to be Jets. And I think they realize that come playoff time, they're going to need to add on the defensive side. But yeah, leave your comments down below who you want the Jets to acquire. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm going to hop on out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next one. Go Jets, go. Bye-bye.